Well, it's been more than a year now since the little boy in the Spider-Man suit went missing from his grandmother's home in Kendal on the New South Wales mid-north coast. And the mystery behind William Tyrrell's disappearance has seen so much speculation about who might be in the sights of detectives. There's been the person of interest, local repairman Bill Spedding. We've had 3 motor vehicles parked in the area highlighted as connected possibly to the case as well. And we've heard of loose allegations about a group of pedophiles operating in the region who may have planned the abduction somehow. And now, as the frustration builds after 12 months, William's grieving parents are also having to face the trolls on social media, the barbs about their parenting, and even nasty sceptics who say they smell a rat. Well, having spent some time with William's parents recently and having helped out with a small fundraiser aimed at creating this week's Where's William campaign, I asked the couple to have a chat with me in order to address some of these points and primarily to reach out to the public for further help, because that's exactly what they need. I spoke to them in Sydney earlier this week.
Thank you so much for giving us the time this afternoon.
You're welcome. It's nice to talk to you.
Thanks, Chris.
Let's start by telling us some of the details of the moment that William went missing.
The moment I knew he was missing was when I walked around the side of the house, and I expected to see him on the grass, ready to jump at me like the roaring and the Daddy Tiger game that he was playing. And I've walked out and I've just looked and I've just stunned. Why couldn't I see him? And then I thought, is he hiding from me? And then I sort of thought, there's like so many thoughts that just go crashing through your brain in a split second. I thought, is he hiding from me? Where's he gone? Has he come around the other side of the house and we haven't seen him? Has he decided to go under the house? Has he decided to, anything? I didn't know.
And what was the time between when you last saw him and when you realised he was missing?
There's a big grassy clump of grass, and I thought maybe he's hiding in that, and I raced down there and I raced back up again, and I think Mum must have heard me yelling out for William, because she's standing up, and I walked back around to where we were sitting and she's standing, and I just said, is he here? And she said, why would he be here? And I said, well, I can't find him. And she said, what do you mean? Why can't you find him? And I said, he's gone.
So just a matter of minutes from when you saw him to when he was gone, you must have thought he has to be within 50 metres of where you were.
Yeah, not even, less than 50 metres, because he's not a boy that would go. We were at a shopping centre once a few months ago before he was taken, and he was being a bit silly. It was, that time of the day when children go all silly and they're not really listening to what you tell them to do, and he let go of my hand and he wandered probably 3 metres away from me. There were quite a few people and I'm watching him, so I had full eyesight, and I thought, I just wonder and see what he does. He panicked. He freaked out. He, at the top of his voice, Mummy! And I had to say, William, I'm here. And, I could see panic all over his voice.
Which explains why you would try and tell him to reply to you immediately.
Absolutely. Right. And they're used to it, which is why I just really struggle with he would walk away.
Okay, then came the call to police.
Yes, yeah, I called. Well, we'd been, after I went back up to where Mum had said, what do you mean, where has he gone? We raced inside and we pulled open every wardrobe. We pulled open every cupboard. We went back around the house again. I must have gone around that house about 10 times. We went inside and outside that house, I can't believe how many times. And then Mum said, you go down, I'll stay up here. And then I went down the road and I saw one of the neighbours who's just absolutely fabulous. One of the first neighbours I saw, she just said, I asked her if she'd seen a little boy in a Spider-Man suit, because she had a play area in her her house, and I thought maybe he was attracted to that if he'd wandered off. And she said, no, nothing, I don't know anything. And so she said, I'll come and help you, searching the estate. And then we went right down the end, and there was the other neighbour who came out to help, and we were all searching, yelling out for William. And then I thought, okay, he's not here. And then I raced back home. My husband had got home from his meeting. I'd said to him, is William with you? And he looked at me as if to say, what a really stupid question. Of course he's not with me. Where is he? And you went off and you just raced around that whole estate trying to find him. Yeah. I went back down with one of the neighbours, and we kept looking down to the bus stop and back, all through the houses. And then I thought, okay, I've got to call 000. And that's when I went back upstairs and I made that call.
Police emergency, this is Simone.
Yeah, hi, my son is missing. He's 3.5.
Okay.
Sorry?
What's your address?
Benaroon Drive,
Yep.
Kendall.
Okay. How long has he been missing?
I think we've been looking for him now for about 15 or 20 minutes, but
Okay.
I thought it could be 5, it could be longer, because he was just playing around here. We heard him and then we heard nothing.
Okay. Can you describe him to me? How tall? Obviously not very tall.
No,
But
he'd be about 2.5 feet. He's wearing a Spider-Man outfit.
Okay. What's his name?
William.
What's William's surname?
Tyrrell, Tyrrell.
Okay. Has he been known to sort of go anywhere?
No, this is the first time.
The first time he's
completely out of
wandered off?
character.
Someone knows something. Someone, probably more than one person, knows something. What's your message to those hanging on to that information?
It's a question that comes up quite a bit, Chris. And in actual fact, all I say is, contact Crime Stoppers. And Crime Stoppers is, you can be and remain completely anonymous. You don't have to give your name and any details. But what you can do is provide a piece of that puzzle that will potentially be able to provide us with the answers and the solution to the outcome for the whereabouts of William.
His whereabouts, I guess the question's got to be, although we fear what may have happened to William, there are other possibilities, right?
Yeah. The best scenario for us is that William is being loved and cared for by other people. There's no evidence that says that he's not. There's no evidence to say that he's dead. So for me, the best outcome is that William is loved by somebody else, because he deserves to be loved. And if he can't be with us, he has to be with someone else who cherishes him and treats him like their own child. And
your message to those people, if that's the scenario?
Look, if that's the scenario, or excuse me, or in any scenario, please just give William back, and you can be the person who can help bring William home.
Your life has changed. You're not doing the things with him you would normally do. And what would that entail? What was say, a weekend, away from your work and spending some considerable time with him? What would that entail?
I'd probably describe that as a day of smiles. I mean, for us and the whole family, would be from the moment we got up, it was racing around the house. It was him running into our bedroom and waking us up and jumping into bed. It's that sort of stuff that you do, and that sort of stuff that would be as the family. And then you get up and you make breakfast, and what do you want for breakfast, and the day begins, and you go through what you're going to do, and you play outside, and toys come out, and all those sorts of things. He
had some favourite toys, he's got some favourite food. What were his favourites?
The first thing that comes to mind, especially when you're starting off a day at breakfast, he loved pear. Yeah. Mm-hmm. He loves pear. He loved his rice bubbles with warm milk. Yeah. He was a bit fussy in that regard, but that was fine. But that was just him, Or on a special occasion, we'd make homemade pancakes with maple syrup. Mm. But he was a ferocious eater, a great eater, and he wasn't one of these children who wouldn't like vegetables or carrot and broccoli. He'd eat it all. He was amazing.
My 2-year-old, when he was 2, was fascinated with stories and books. Was William the same?
Yeah, every night it would be a Fireman Sam book. in most cases, absolutely.
Or the tractor book.
Or the tractor book.
All the farm machines.
The farm machinery book.
Yeah. When it talks about this, was it the spreader? And the backhoe and
the baler, the hay baler, and that sort of stuff. That you take the hay and you take it to the markets and all.
And before reading the book, he'd have to hold it. He'd lie in bed. So the routine was, go to bed. He would choose his book. And he would actually pretend to read the book. And then when he'd finished reading the book, it was our turn to read the book to him.
You've still got his things waiting for him, no doubt.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And little Tara sits on our bed. So
tell us about little Tara.
Little Tara was actually a doll that was given to his sister, and William wanted a baby because they would play babies and mums and dads and all sorts of things that kids do. And so his sister said to him, "Do you want?" And she hadn't named the doll, so she pointed and said, "Do you want?" And he said, "Yes, yes." And so she actually has a larger doll that she calls Big Tara. And so little Tara was named after Big Tara. And, some people might think it's really weird that a boy's got a doll, but, William is an empathetic child and he loves, and that was his baby. And so he and his sister would play babies with Big Tara and little Tara. And he wanted to do dress-ups with little Tara, and we were on holidays one year, and I said, should we buy clothes for babies? And so we bought a whole heap of clothes for Big Tara, and William chose the clothes for little Tara, which is how we got the green tutu, because green's his favourite colour. So,
So you've got another child, as you've mentioned. How do you put your foot in front of the other and continue on with the kind of activities that, you'd usually do with her when things are hurting so much?
You have to.
One day at a time.
You don't stop.
One day at a time. It's tough. It's very, very tough for all of us. But it is get up in the morning and start the day and go from there.
And because one child's missing, it means you don't stop being a parent.
The parents of little missing boy William Tyrrell, I doubt whether I could cope in those same circumstances. Just horrific stuff. But up next, the couple will have something to say about nasty social media users who have bullied this family endlessly, accused them of all sorts of behaviour, and have only added to their grief. That's next. Okay, back to the interview I recorded earlier this week with the parents of missing boy William Tyrrell.
You've had some incredible support from politicians all the way down to some, senior police commissioners. You've had support from so many of my listeners. But there have been the trolls who know very little about the behind-the-scenes circumstances. They weren't there. How have you coped with that?
We try... How do we cope? We try not to pay them any attention. But unfortunately, when a select group of people choose to publish information about us that's private and personal, like a telephone number, like our address, pictures, all sorts of other information, that becomes quite difficult. Those people, we know who they are. We have the information that they've posted, and that information is sitting with other people at the moment. But I think what keeps us going as well, and this counters out those really absolutely shocking things that people write and think they think it's their God-given right to say this, and they have no thought.
And I think
they just sit there and they write it.
I think it's easy, Chris, for anyone to pass judgment when they're sitting on the other end of a computer in front of a terminal or a keyboard. It's so easy to flippantly just make a comment, and they might think that's a passing comment, but to us it's very, very hurtful. And they don't know. They don't know the story behind the story. They've got no idea.
And the parents know the hurt, the parents understand the full circumstances, but you all of a sudden have become items for others to comment on rather than real people to them.
But you know what? You're talking about those people being parents. We know they are parents because they talk about their children. I don't understand how a parent could do that. They're showing absolutely no social or moral judgment. But the thing that keeps us going is being able to read those amazing things that people say that keep us going. We've had two ladies in particular who have absolutely been the stalwarts for us from a Facebook perspective, and they have just been absolutely amazing. And I want to say publicly thank you to those two women who have done an amazing job for us in terms of the social media. And I also want to say thank you to all those other people who we don't know and we will probably never know, but all those wonderful things that you say to us help.
Which brings us to the campaign in getting William's name out there to as many people right across the country, because he could be on the other side of the country, and people who know something may also be on the other side of the country. We've raised some money to begin that campaign. Just explain to my listeners why that's important and what the aim is as far as having the resources and the facility to spread the word.
So whilst we've had a lot of pro bono support from a lot of people, there are costs to running the campaign, and they might seem like really small, minor costs, but all of these costs add up. So all the donations are used. They're used for printing, it's used for postage, it's used for a whole heap of things. And there are some misconceptions out there that Bravehearts are taking the money. They're not. They are absolutely not. There's also some misconception that the organisation who we've engaged to help us with this campaign are taking the money. They're not. They're doing this free of charge. And these two women, Claire and Alice, who are running this campaign, are absolutely spectacular. I know they go to bed late at night. I know they wake up really early in the morning. They have not been paid. The money that comes in through the Where's William donation is absolutely spent on William. And when William is found and we have not spent all of that, that money will be donated. Nobody will keep that money. That money will go back to children.
Okay, so the Where's William campaign, what's involved?
Well, the Where's William campaign, I mean, for this week we've got from the 12th to the 18th, and there's a number of things that are going on in regard to the Where's William campaign.
Parliament are wearing the ribbons, the celebrities will be wearing the ribbons. There's Tea for Williams happening all across this week. If people want to continue to support us, then host an event. All we can do is ask that you keep William in your mind, keep the discussion up about him. One of the other things we're asking is that can everybody put the Crime Stoppers number into their phones, and in doing that attach a photo to it of William, and they're downloadable off the where'swilliam.org webpage. So the Crime Stoppers number is 1800 333 000.
So download that photo, get that Crime Stoppers number next to it, because you never ever know when you may need it.
Exactly. Look for him. Don't think somebody else is looking for him. Look for him. Don't forget him.
So through this, you're keeping in close contact with the police, but it must be agonising to have to sit by the phone and wonder whether this is a good call, this is not a good call, or whether this could be the call that leads you to William.
I guess what we're also doing, Chris, is we're taking a big leap of faith too. Gary Jubilant, who's heading up the task force, Roseanne, in putting our trust in someone that we have complete faith in as well, and belief in what Gary can do. He's, I describe him now as being a little bull terrier, and he's exactly that, and he'll grab that bone and he will not let go until he's got a result. And we see that in the way in which he, forensically looks at anything in any situation, any information, circumstances, any sort of detail. and he's doing everything that for a reason, so that he can produce an outcome for William and for us.
Having said all of that, I cannot even begin to imagine what you're going through, but worse still, the fact that you don't know what happened.
Yeah.
Is that the worst thing?
Yeah. And on top of that is you have to live with it every day, and there's no end. There's no end to this. If we knew William had been murdered, if we had a body, there's closure to that. There's no closure to this, because every day is hope. And it's so hard. We've just come on the back end of 12 months. And at a personal level, I think I've been holding it together. But this is 12 months. I can't keep this. It's just, I can't believe we're 12 months down the track and we don't have him.
It seems to have taken so long, but to be here 12 months later without a result is astonishing, and everything you can think of all at the same time. It's
So it's a real mixed bag of emotions. There's deep sorrow, there's regret, there's everything. But then my anger's really building, and my anger's really building at people who show absolutely no regard for William and his sister. I'm really angry at the person who did this. Like, why would you do this? I mean, what makes you think it's okay? It's not okay. And I'm so unbelievably angry at the people who know that somebody did it. How can you sleep? How can you function as a normal human being in society carrying this burden?
I can only wish you all the best, and I'm sure our listeners are thinking and praying for you at the same time, and hopefully your little family gets back together.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Chris.
Thank
you very much.
Thank you to Claire and Alice and Christian and Matt for their assistance in leading to that interview, and to William's parents too for their courage. That website again, where'swilliam.org, where'swilliam.org. I've got my little badge on the pocket. I've had it on all week, where'swilliam.org. And you can obtain those. You can obtain posters. You can obtain all of that if you just go to the website, where'swilliam.org, and put one up in your workplace. Make sure that everyone is looking for William and doesn't forget the name. We need to make the name William Tyrrell as high profile as we possibly can. Shane writes from Hammondville, thank you for your interview with little William's parents. I shed a tear today, like I do every time I hear anything about him or see him in his little Spider-Man suit. As a father of a little boy of the same age as William, it is just heartbreaking. I can't imagine how hard it would be. Imagine what you think of as soon as you wake up every day.